What if I told you that every second you've spent chasing someone who never cared was a second stolen, not just from your day, but from your destiny? What if the sleepless nights, the desperate texts, and the endless mental chess were never about love, but a distraction designed to pull you away from yourself? And what if the truth isn't that you're unworthy, but that you've been chasing worth in the wrong direction all along? We've been sold a dream, a fantasy that if we just love hard enough, fight long enough, or stay patient enough, the person we crave will eventually see our worth. But what if that dream is a lie? What if every ounce of effort you've poured into someone who barely noticed was a silent thief, robbing you of your energy, your purpose, and, most painfully, your time? That's the brutal truth. The emotional chaos you've endured, the confusion, the overthinking, the countless times you rewrote that message only to delete it, was never about connection. It was an illusion, a powerful distraction designed to keep you from realizing the rarest kind of freedom, the freedom to walk away. We're so deeply immersed in the chase that we lose sight of a truth the Stoics held sacred. Your time is your most valuable asset. You can rebuild money. You can recover from heartbreak. But time, once it's gone, it never returns. Still, how many men are spending months, some even years, chasing someone who gives back nothing in return? It's time to wake up. There's wisdom buried in the pain if you're strong enough to dig for it. The Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius once said, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do and say and think. If this moment were your last, would you feel proud of how you've spent it? Or would regret weigh you down? Regret for the energy wasted on someone who never truly saw you? Far too many men fall into the trap of thinking love must be earned through sacrifice, through proving themselves, through chasing. But that's not love. That's need. And need, when left unchecked, is dangerous. The Stoics taught that true power comes from within, from knowing your worth so deeply that no one, no situation, no rejection, no silence can shake it. It's about detachment, letting go of the belief that the world owes you affection or that someone else's attention is the currency of your happiness. So, what if, starting today, you stopped wasting your energy on the wrong people? What if you took that power back and started treating your time like the sacred, irreplaceable gift it is? This is your moment, not tomorrow, not next week, now. You're about to discover 5 brutal but freeing lessons. These are not soft words for the fragile ego. They're for the man ready to break the cycle of confusion, self-betrayal, and unreciprocated effort. These lessons won't just reshape how you view women, they will radically shift how you view yourself. And once you see yourself clearly, everything else begins to change. Let's start with the first lesson. 1. If she's not choosing you, stop choosing. Or you were never born to be someone's backup plan. You weren't made to chase after someone who barely notices your presence. But here you are, shrinking your light, dimming your voice, exhausting your spirit, just to win the attention of someone who wouldn't cross the room for you. You fight for her attention. You wait on replies that never come. You justify red flags with hope and excuses. But here's the truth. A woman who truly values you will never keep you guessing. She won't leave you hanging in the shadows, won't feed you scraps of affection, just to keep you lingering like a dog waiting under the table. Love is not a riddle you have to solve. A man with self-respect does not chase ghosts. A Stoic man walks away from anything that insults his dignity. He doesn't beg. He doesn't plead. He doesn't negotiate for love like it's a commodity. He builds his own table. And if she can't recognize his worth, he doesn't waste a single breath trying to prove it. Because every second spent on someone who doesn't want you is a second stolen from your own greatness. You're not a beggar. You're not lost. You're just one hard truth away from finding your power again. Previously, we exposed a brutal truth, that chasing someone who doesn't choose you back is a betrayal of your own worth. Now we move deeper to the hidden patterns that trap men not in love, but in illusion. Stop begging for scraps of affection like a starving dog waiting beneath a table. You were not born to linger at closed doors, endlessly knocking while the entire world stands open behind you, and yet so many men do exactly that. They keep setting themselves on fire, emotionally, mentally, just to keep someone else warm. But the fire doesn't warm her, it only burns you. The solution isn't rage. It's not resentment either. It's the quiet, unwavering strength of a man who walks away, not because he's angry, but because he remembers who he is. A man who knows he deserves more doesn't need to scream. He simply leaves. Lesson number 2. Attention is not affection. She laughs at your jokes. She likes your stories. She replies to your texts, just enough to keep you from leaving. And in those tiny moments, it feels like something real. Like maybe she cares. Like maybe you're getting closer. But pause. Look again. That's not love. That's not even real interest. It's a game. A woman who genuinely wants you will never play with your time. She won't breadcrumb you with occasional messages while keeping you emotionally at arm's length. She won't throw you just enough attention to keep you orbiting her while someone else sits firmly in the center of her world. And yet, this is where countless men fall. They confuse attention with affection. They mistake a glance for connection, a casual laugh for genuine interest, a reply for real effort. And that mistake, it costs them their dignity. The Stoics taught us a powerful filter. Judge actions, not words, not emojis, not likes on your posts, not passive compliments sent at 2 a.m. If a woman's actions don't match her words, she isn't confused, she's deliberate. She's using you to feed her ego, to feel wanted, to hold power. The moment you stop feeding her that validation, she vanishes, like she was never there at all. A high-value man recognizes this for what it is. He knows that real love is not a puzzle to solve. It's not mysterious or unclear. It doesn't come with mixed messages or emotional riddles. It's consistent. It's calm. It's unmistakable. If you have to constantly decode her behavior just to feel secure, you already have your answer. No clarity is your clarity. No answer is your answer. You weren't made to be an option. You weren't designed to orbit someone else's world. You weren't made to be a background character in someone else's story. You were never meant to play the role of maybe, sometimes, or just in case. And yet far too often, men stay in situations where they are treated like an afterthought, hoping for clarity that never comes. It's time to walk away from confusion, from inconsistency, from anything that makes you question your value. Because here's the truth, a man who truly respects himself doesn't chase illusions. He doesn't beg for clarity. He doesn't fight to earn a place in someone's chaotic game. He creates his own rules, He commands his reality. Lesson number 3. Lust can trap you in weakness. How many men have destroyed everything they built, careers, families, even themselves, over a woman they barely knew? How many kings in history have fallen? How many warriors have crumbled? How many empires have collapsed because one man, in one moment, surrendered his will to his desire? Lust is powerful, and most men, they're not resisting it. They're addicted to it, walking through life like sleepwalkers, confusing lust with love, obsession with meaning, and temporary pleasure with deep connection. They chase the high, the thrill, that electric moment when fantasy feels real until it fades and reality crashes down. You think you're in control, but look closer. Lust doesn't follow you. You follow it, like a puppet on invisible strings, pulled by your own unchecked cravings. And in that blindness, men make excuses. They justify bad decisions. They gamble with their futures, their reputations, and even their peace. For what? A body? A moment? A fleeting fantasy that dissolves the instant it ends? The Stoics didn't whisper about this danger. They warned us loudly. They said a man ruled by lust is not a man at all. He is a slave to his impulses. A dog chasing a bone. A fool willing to trade his destiny for one night of empty satisfaction. But the man who masters his desires, he's different. He is untouchable. He walks through the fire of temptation and comes out without a single burn. He doesn't kneel before lust. He doesn't hand over his future for fleeting indulgence. He builds, he conquers, he rules. Because before he rules anything else, he rules himself. Control your impulses, or they will control you. This is the brutal truth. A single moment of weakness can erase years of progress. One reckless choice can dismantle everything you've worked to build. And the worst part? It often happens without warning. Fast, silent, and final. Be stronger than your urges. Be wiser than your temptations. And most importantly, walk away from anything that weakens your soul, even if it once made your heart feel alive. Because the man who truly owns himself, the one who governs his emotions, not the other way around, that man holds the power to shape his world no matter who stays or who leaves. Lesson number 4. She can leave any time. Build a life that stands without her. She told you she loved you. She swore she'd stay. She looked you in the eyes, held your face in her hands, and whispered forever. You believed her. But one day, she left. No warning. No explanation that truly made sense. Just cold silence where warmth used to be. Just empty space where once there was passion, laughter, and promises. And now, you're left standing in the ruins, trying to make sense of it all. Asking yourself how someone who once called you her everything could walk away like you were nothing. Here's the truth. She always could leave. She just finally did. Too many men build their entire identity around a woman. They make her their sun, the center of their emotional universe. They pour their energy, their dreams, and even their purpose into her, forgetting one brutal reality. She was never guaranteed to stay, and when she leaves, everything collapses. The man crumbles. His mind spirals. His identity shatters. He becomes a shadow of who he once was. Why? Because he made her his foundation. A Stoic man never makes that mistake. He does not build his empire on unstable ground. He doesn't rest his future on something or someone he can't control. His foundation is built on discipline, on mission, on unshakable inner purpose. He knows love should enrich your life, not become the sole reason for your existence. A woman can be your partner, your lover, even your deepest emotional connection. But she should never be your lifeline, because if she becomes your entire world, what happens when she walks away? You're left with nothing, and no man, no matter how strong, should ever allow himself to be in that position. Be the kind of man who can love deeply, yet never lose himself in the process. A man who can give his heart, but never his backbone. A man whose strength radiates from the inside out, not because someone else is standing beside him, but because he's built himself to stand alone if he has to. Because here's the brutal reality. Anyone can leave anyone, but the man who has forged himself into something unbreakable, he will always rise. Lesson number 5. Your time is your power. Protect it ruthlessly. Ask yourself, how much of your life have you already sacrificed? How many days, how many late nights, how many mind-consuming hours have you thrown away chasing the fleeting attention of someone who never truly valued you? Every time you stare at your phone, analyzing her last message, every time you wait for a reply that never comes, every time you pause your goals, your dreams, your focus, just to win back a moment of her attention, you're not just losing time. You're bleeding purpose. You're trading your legacy for scraps. And here's the truth that the Stoics carved into the foundation of their wisdom. Memento mori. Remember, you will die. This isn't some poetic thought to be admired and forgotten. It is a call to urgency. You don't have forever. You don't even have a guarantee of tomorrow. So let me ask you plainly, do you really want to stand at the end of your life, looking back at years wasted? Years spent obsessing over someone who barely thought of you, who moved on while you stood still? Time is not just precious, it's the most sacred currency you have. And once it's gone forever. The clock doesn't care about your heartbreak. It doesn't pause for your confusion. It only moves forward, whether you're chasing someone or chasing greatness. Marcus Aurelius said, "The universe is change. Life is opinion." That means you always have a choice. You can choose to waste your time being distracted by those who don't see you, or you can redirect that time, channel it into becoming the strongest version of yourself. Because if you're constantly giving your minutes to people and thoughts that don't serve your growth, the world isn't stealing from you, you're giving it away. A man of purpose doesn't chase, he attracts, not because he's playing a game, but because his life is already magnetic. He attracts through discipline, through consistency, through silent work that no one sees, but everyone eventually feels. He attracts because he is already walking in alignment with truth, with focus, with mission. To live like a Stoic is to guard your time the way a warrior guards his life. It is to understand that every minute is a weapon or a wound, and only you decide which. So stop giving away your energy to things that pull you off course. Stop letting temporary people consume permanent pieces of your soul. Your time is your power. If you are not defending it with intensity, you are not living as a man of purpose. Guard it, like your final breath, because once it's gone, there are no second chances. Time waits for no one. And if you waste it now, you may reach the end with only regret as your companion. So move with power. Move with discipline. Build your life through action, not distraction. The right people, and yes, the right woman, will find you, not because you chased them, but because you were too busy chasing greatness. Memento mori. We ended with the truth few dare to face. Your time is your power, and wasting it is the slowest form of self-destruction. Now, let's bring everything home. Live as if every moment is a gift, because it is. These 5 lessons weren't just words. They were sharp fragments of truth that cuts clean through the illusions most men spend their entire lives trapped in. And here's the cold, haunting reality. Most men will never escape those illusions. They'll waste years, decades, chasing validation, chasing women, chasing comfort, chasing everything except what truly matters. They'll drain their energy, squander their focus, and hand over their soul to relationships and moments that only ever take, never give. But you're different. You don't have time to waste. You don't have the luxury of sitting still, waiting for someone to rescue you or hand you the life you dream about. Stop waiting. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting to be chosen. Stop waiting for someone to notice your worth. Every second you spend distracted, every moment you spend chasing someone who doesn't see your value, is time stolen from the man you could be. Your life is slipping away, not in years, but in seconds. And every excuse you make pulls you further from your purpose. The right woman? She is not your mission. Your grind is, your growth is, your greatness is. Build yourself into a man who cannot be shaken, a man who doesn't chase, because the world naturally turns to face him. A man whose presence commands respect, not through noise, but through silent discipline. A man whose focus is so sharp, so unwavering, that distractions simply bounce off of him. A man who can love deeply, but never needs to beg. Build your empire, build your discipline, build your life, and then watch everything else fall into place. If this struck something deep inside you, if you felt that sting of truth, that realization that you've been giving too much time, energy, and power to the wrong people or the wrong pursuits, don't keep it to yourself. Drop a comment. Share it with someone who needs to hear these words, because some men are still sleepwalking through life. They're waiting for a sign to wake up. This is that sign. And remember, the world doesn't wait for weak men. It doesn't care about your fears, your heartbreak, or your delays. It only responds to power, to focus, to the relentless pursuit of purpose. So stop making excuses. Step into your strength. Become the man you were born to be, and take your place among those who shape the world. Because in the end, only the strong, the focused, the unstoppable will rise. The rest will be forgotten. Choose who you will become.